Hi guys, this is Greg and oops, you're missing Max, don't worry, he will come soon, but I will use the opportunity to introduce this little camera to you. It's my trusted Pentax MX, which I bought 39 years ago and it never disappointed me. So over the years, more and more Pentax cameras added to my collection, and so we are happy that we can show you not only this Pentax here, but also its predecessor and its successor. And if you are interested in affordable, high quality, versatile cameras, stay tuned and see you soon. Bye.
Hello and welcome to Analog Insights. So as Greg just mentioned, today we will review three different Pentax cameras: the Pentax KX, the MX and the LX. Each of these cameras was an improvement over its predecessor, and they all have some degree of professional claim to them. In order to test these cameras properly, we went out on a couple of photo walks this time, shooting some Aqua APX 100 rated at ISO 50, which we self-developed in Rodinal and scanned as well. Then some Aqua Precision 100 and some Fuji Pro 400H, which we also rated at 100, and we sent both of these color films off to our professional lab to get them scanned and developed. In order to keep it as interesting as possible this time, we also decided to shoot some architecture from a tripod and using a shift lens that Greg happens to have in his Pentax lens setup. We really hope you enjoy this section as well, so let's dive in there and see what you can do with this beautiful Pentax series. The Pentax KX, MX and LX are all 35mm single lens reflex cameras which were introduced between 1975 and 1980. All the cameras offer an excellent build quality, and what we found interesting is that at the same time they are quite affordable. So if you are just starting out shooting film, you might want to take a look at the Pentax series here as well, and not just look for the more prestigious players like Canon or Nikon. And only to provide you some orientation, the Pentax KX is the more, let's say, advanced amateur model, and the Pentax LX is really a professional tool and was Pentax's only attempt to enter the professional market. And the Pentax MX is kind of in between these two models in terms of features, and its main characteristic is that it's a really compact and small camera. So it has a much smaller form factor in comparison to the other two cameras. So what kind of features do they have in common, and what are the differences between these cameras? They all share the so-called K bayonet or K mount, which was first introduced with the Pentax KX in 1975. Then they all have an aperture indication inside the viewfinder, which comes in different forms, and a self-timer and a mechanical or hybrid shutter that also runs without batteries. And only in the case of the LX, we do have some time limitations when you run it without batteries, but that's the only exception. Then the KX and the LX also offer a mirror lockup, which the MX does not offer, probably because of its size. And if you want to have more professional and advanced features, you might want to take a look at the MX and the LX, because they offer interchangeable focusing screens and also have the opportunity to use a winder or even a motor drive. Furthermore, the LX, as the most advanced model, also offers interchangeable viewfinders, which you can see us using here, shooting some architecture, automatic exposure settings, and for the shutter, of course, and a TTL flash metering. And it was also the first Pentax that came along with an extended body sealings that made it less sensitive to dust and basically water splash proofed. And in many ways, one can say that the Pentax LX is one of the finest 35mm mechanical SLR cameras ever produced. And as mentioned before, it was Pentax's only attempt to enter the professional market, and you can really feel that in that camera. The MX, on the other hand, is the smallest camera in this line, but still comes with an excellent and uncompromising build quality. And what's particularly interesting here is once you pick it up, you realize that, because this camera is made of brass and stainless steel, and once you pick it up, you see, okay, this is high quality, this is hefty, this is solid. So this is just a rough overview of these three cameras. Pentax cameras always follow the form follows function principle, so you won't find any unnecessary buttons or dials on these cameras. So basically what you have are dials for the shutter speed and the film setting, a shutter release button which can be locked in all models, a lever for the self-timer that also works for closing the aperture, and a knob to lock the mirror, and a rewinder for the film. And that's it. So it's very easy to understand even without reading the instructions, and especially if you're just starting out shooting film, it's the kind of camera that makes it easy for you to understand the connections between aperture and shutter speed and get your brain wrapped around this whole concept of how to expose the film correctly and how it works. When we talk about the design, what is also important to mention here is that the Pentax MX, together with its electronic sister camera, the Pentax ME, were the smallest 35mm SLRs on the market for some time. And if you think back at our Olympus OM1 review, that is of course important to mention, because the Olympus OM1 was also all about a very compact form factor and bringing all the features of an SLR into that form factor. And here we see a very similar approach for the Pentax MX. So as always, we want to briefly talk about the lenses that you can use with these cameras. Even in the earlier days of the screw mount models, Pentax had a vast set of high quality lenses, which they continued and improved upon for the K-mount series. And overall, we see a set of 35 lenses for the K series, basically starting with a 15mm wide angle and ending with a 1000mm super tele lens. So this is quite impressive. And important to point out is also that for the M mount or the M series, Pentax modified the line to include more compact lens bodies and increased the number to 35. So you can get very small lenses, and together with the Pentax MX you get a very compact kind of camera system. What is also important to mention about Pentax lenses is that they come with a super multi-coating or SMC, which is a sophisticated protection against lens flare and loss of light transmission, for which Pentax lenses are famous for. And last but not least, I want to point to the material that was used, because that is only high quality, so stainless steel, brass and aluminum. So that's what you get, no plastic or anything else. So what is our personal assessment? Until today, these Pentax cameras are really affordable, high quality working horses that offer outstanding durability. They are quite easy to handle, and the lens assortment especially is just almost record breaking. And part of the reason is that not only does Pentax offer 37 lenses, but they also made the K bayonet open source. So it is possible for third-party manufacturers to create lenses for that K mount as well, and quite some did. So you get a huge choice of lenses to pick from and to use with that particular camera system. And last but not least, the pictures coming out of these cameras were just amazing and are really convincing. So there's no reason to doubt anything about them. On the downside, you just have to say that while Pentax was always really innovative and they were often the first with new technical solutions like a rapid return mirror, TTL metering, automatic shutter and things like that, it never as a company get the meaning and was never as prestigious as, for example, Nikon or Canon. So what you won't get is a prestigious camera. So if you're looking for a prestigious camera, go somewhere else, go to Leica, Nikon or Canon. But with Pentax what you get is really a good solid working horse, but without the prestige basically. So to sum it up, Greg and I really enjoyed shooting these Pentax cameras. If you are on a budget, you might want to take a look at one of these cameras here. As mentioned before, they're really affordable, high quality working horses. And if it shall be a little bit smaller, we encourage you to take a look at the MX. If you want to have a more versatile camera, for instance, have an interchangeable viewfinders and features like that, take a look at the LX that was directed at the professional market and still can be had for very little money today. And as mentioned before, the lens quality is outstanding, comes with the Pentax SMC super multi-coating, which Pentax is famous for. So overall, we can just encourage you to take a look at this camera system, especially if you don't want to go to so much for prestige and don't mind not having a Nikon, Canon or even Leica camera. So thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed this quite extensive review of 3 different cameras. If you did, please remember to like this video and maybe even share it with your friends. And as always, if you want to see more videos like that, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Greg, Jules and I really appreciate it. Each and every subscriber coming our way. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you soon. Bye.